All right, let's have an adventure. Here's something I bet you've noticed. The people you disagree with don't just seem wrong anymore. They seem broken, like something has become loose in their heads. And if you're honest with yourself, they're looking at you in the exact same way. There's a reason for that. And it's older than politics, older than the internet, older than anything we call tribalism in today's headlines. It's also, believe it or not, the same reason we've ever built anything bigger than a campfire. Today, we'll talk about why the instinct that looks like it's tearing us apart is actually the mechanism that has put every civilization together. Every single one. Hi, I'm Scott Knoll of DreamForge. Let's engage. Today, we'll look at something a little weird. We'll ask whether the most dangerous thing about our species, our tribalism, is actually the most hopeful thing about us. Not because it isn't dangerous, it is, but because the same wiring has a second function and almost nobody talks about it. First, the hard part. Tribalism is real. It's not a metaphor. It's not just a political slur. It's not something the other side is doing while our side is being rational. We are a tribal species the way bees are hive instincts. The circuitry is ancient and it runs whether you approve of it or not. The darkest version of what that circuitry does is not subtle. Every war in human history started with a tribal line drawn a little sharper. Every atrocity, every comment section piled on, scaled to industrial size. This instinct has probably killed more human beings than every disease, every famine, and every natural disaster put together. So, when someone tells you tribalism is bad, they're not wrong. They're just telling you a quarter of the story. Here's the part nobody leads with. Human beings are built to live in groups of about 150. That's the famous Dunbar number, the size of a band your brain can track by face and relationship. Anything bigger than that, and the social machinery starts to strain at the seams. And yet, if you're in the US, you are a member of a tribe of 340 million people you will never meet. You're a node in a global economy of 8 billion worldwide. You have cooperated with total strangers today, probably dozens of them, for things as small as coffee and as large as clean water. None of that is natural. Strictly speaking, none of that should be possible. How do we do it? The historian Yuval Noah Harari has the cleanest answer I've seen. We invented stories we all agree to believe. Nations, religion, money, laws, human rights. None of those things exist in any physical sense. You cannot find a kilogram of Christianity or hold a Tao in your hand. But because we all behave as if these ideas are real things, they organize us. Harari calls them imagined orders. That's the first half of tribalism. The circle can be redrawn. It has to be, or we'd all still be in bands of 150 eyeing each other across a river. Now, look at how that circle has actually been widened across history. Because if you think it happens through enlightenment or good intentions, I have some bad news for you. It almost happens the ugly way. Rome started as a single city, smaller than many of its neighbors. Its defining innovation wasn't that it fought better. Plenty of neighbors fought better. Its defining innovation was that when it conquered a people, it started turning them into Romans. Daph, you promised not to interrupt today.
No disagreements today, Scott. I just have an idea. Are you going to tell them about the Edict of Caracalla?
I don't even know what that is, Daph.
212 AD. Emperor Caracalla woke up one morning and decided that every free man in the Roman Empire was a Roman citizen. Every one. Hispania, Egypt, Gaul, Greece, North Africa, Britain, the entire Mediterranean world, one decree, one day. The single largest expansion of political identity in the ancient world, and most people have never heard of it.
I was going to make the same point with Rome's social war.
I know. But this was even bigger.
Yes, I guess it was. Thanks, Daph.
Now, go ahead and tell them about the social war.
Okay, so about a century earlier, Rome's Italian allies fought a war. It's called the Social War, demanding Roman citizenship. And Rome, mid-war, agreed. It granted them that citizenship. The emperors at Rome's height of power didn't come from Rome. Trajan and Hadrian were from Hispania. Septimus Severus was from North Africa. the men quoted for Roman virtue and Roman strength were, by an older definition, not Romans at all. Cicero himself, the voice of the late Republic, wasn't from a Roman family. He was a new man from a small hill town. Now, compare that with Athens, 451 BC. Pericles passes a law requiring both parents to be Athenian for citizenship. The circle tightens. The Golden Age lasts only about a generation, and then Athens, crippled by its narrow definition of citizenship, burns out. And this pattern shows up again and again. The Abbasid Caliphate absorbed Greek and Persian learning and built a civilization on the synthesis, the one we borrowed algebra and astronomy from. Even the empires we look askance at today, the British one most of all, left behind a shared scientific vocabulary and a global infrastructure that the people who threw them out used to build their own nations. Hey, I'm not defending empires. The ledger is brutal on that count, but the structural fact is hard to argue with. Every expansion of us in human history went through a phase where yesterday's enemies were absorbed, not eliminated. The circle has widened every single time through the exact instinct we think is tearing us apart. So here's what I think is happening right now. We are once again at a widening moment. A global tribe is trying to form, and every previous widening in history felt exactly like this from the inside. Identities under threat, traditions disrupted, old lines being redrawn faster than people can mourn the loss of them. Everyone furious that the us is getting bigger. The difference is, we've never had a global us before, so there's no Caracalla moment to look back on in hindsight, no edict coming down the wire. We're doing it in public, in real time, at the speed of the internet, and every widening that has ever happened in history hurt while it was happening. So, here's the redirect for today. Tribalism isn't the enemy. Tribalism is the software, and the software has two modes. In one mode, it draws hard lines and kills people outside them. In the other mode, it draws a bigger circle and absorbs them. Which mode runs depends on conditions, on scarcity, on fear, on whether the people telling us who we are decide for themselves whether they are widening the circle or narrowing it. And here's the earned hope part, the part I actually believe, not the wishful thinking version. Humanity is right now the largest cooperating tribe that has ever existed on this planet. By every measure that matters, trade, travel, shared science, shared culture, the shared crises we can only solve together, the us is already bigger than any of us have ever seen in human history. The fact that you and someone on the other side of the world can argue with each other about global politics at all is proof that the tribe has already been built. We're just fighting about where its edges go. The anxiety isn't evidence the widening is failing. The anxiety is how widening has always felt, from inside a widening. So, the question worth holding, the one I'd like you to sit with, isn't how do we destroy tribalism? You can't. It's the operating system. The question is, which mode of the software is running right now, and what would it take to flip it? So here's what I'd like to hear from you. Push back. Where does this argument break? Is the current moment really a widening, or am I dressing up a narrowing in hopeful clothes? Are there historical cases where the circle got smaller and stayed that way? Drop it in the comments. I'm planning a 5-minute focus segment to answer the sharpest questions. If you like this kind of argument, where the hope has to pass through the dark part to be worth anything, then subscribe. I think we're just getting warmed up. And if you love speculative fiction where ideas and hope do the heavy lifting, check out DreamForge magazine. The link is in the description. I'm Scott Knoll. Thanks for engaging, and we'll see you out there.